It always seems impossible until it's done.
Welcome to Echoes of Timeless Legends, where wisdom speaks directly to the present. And if this is your first time here, you are welcome. This is a place for those committed to growth, courage, and becoming more than circumstance allows. If these conversations add value to your journey, take a moment to like this episode and subscribe so you never miss the voices and lessons that continue to shape our world. Let us begin.
Friends and compatriots, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all with humility and gratitude. I stand before you not as a man without flaws, nor as one untouched by hardship, but as someone who has learned, often through pain, that the strength of a human being is measured not by the absence of struggle, but by the discipline with which one meets it. Today I wish to speak to you not about politics or power, but about discipline, the quiet force that carried me through imprisonment and into freedom without hardening my heart or diminishing my faith in humanity. When people speak of discipline, they often imagine restriction, punishment, or force. But discipline, as I have come to understand it, is something far deeper and far more humane. Discipline is direction. It is the inner agreement you make with yourself about who you will be long before circumstances test that decision. I did not discover discipline because I was in prison. Prison merely revealed how essential it was. When freedom of movement is taken away, when dignity is challenged daily, and when uncertainty becomes your companion, you are left with a choice. Either you master your inner life, or it will master you. The greatest battle I faced was not against walls or guards. It was against anger, despair, and the quiet temptation to surrender my dignity. I knew that if I allowed bitterness to govern my days, then prison would succeed in doing more than confining my body. It would claim my future. So I chose discipline, not loudly, not perfectly, but consistently. Each morning I reminded myself that while others could dictate my surroundings, they could not dictate my character unless I surrendered it to them. I disciplined my thoughts, because thoughts become attitudes. I disciplined my reactions, because reactions shape consequences. I disciplined my words, because words can wound or heal. Discipline gave structure to days that otherwise felt endless. Routine became a form of resistance. I exercised not merely to keep my body alive, but to affirm that it still belonged to me. I read to keep my mind active and free. I reflected each evening, not to condemn myself, but to ensure that my actions aligned with the man I hope to be. Discipline, I learned, is inseparable from dignity. When you maintain discipline in undignified conditions, you make a quiet declaration. My worth does not depend on how I am treated. There were moments when emotion threatened to overwhelm discipline. Anger felt justified. Despair felt reasonable. But discipline does not require the absence of emotion. It requires that emotion does not rule your decisions. I learned to pause before speaking, to breathe before reacting, to ask myself a simple but demanding question. Will this response serve the future, or only satisfy the present? Forgiveness, too, demanded discipline. Resentment is easy. Hatred often feels deserved. Yet I understood that carrying bitterness would keep me imprisoned long after the gates were open. Forgiveness was not a single moment of virtue. It was a daily practice, a discipline of choosing not to allow the past to poison the future. When freedom finally came, I discovered that discipline was required even more than before. In prison, the struggle is survival. In freedom, the struggle is responsibility. Power tests discipline in ways hardship never can. It tempts the ego, invites impatience, and offers shortcuts. Discipline in freedom meant restraint in victory. It meant listening when I could have commanded. It meant choosing unity when division would have been easier. Leadership, I learned, begins with self-mastery. A leader who cannot discipline their emotions will misuse authority. A leader who cannot discipline their ego will divide rather than unite. You cannot guide others where you have not first guided yourself. To those who feel overwhelmed by hardship, delay, or disappointment, I say this: discipline does not require perfect conditions. It requires clarity of purpose. You do not need to see the entire path ahead. You need only decide who you are becoming, and allow that decision to guide your habits, your words, and your actions. Discipline is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It is quiet. It is consistent. And over time, consistency becomes strength. In conclusion, let me say this: never wait for the world to grant you dignity before you practice it yourself. Discipline is dignity made visible through daily action. May each of us find the courage to govern ourselves wisely, the patience to endure hardship without bitterness, and the discipline to build a future worthy of our shared humanity. I thank you all.
If this reflection spoke to you, let it travel. Share it with someone who may need this message today. If you haven't yet, subscribe to Echoes of Timeless Legends and like this episode so these voices of wisdom continue to reach those searching for meaning in a noisy world. And we want to hear from you. Tell us in the comments whose voice should echo in our next episode. Until next time, remain grounded in purpose, steady in character, and faithful to the work of becoming.